Next on the program is my father's great-grandson, Jacob Harris, who's going to share with us a couple of things. First, his own reminiscence of my father, and also something from my daughter, Emma. Jake?
Grandpa was a very good teacher. He taught me how to play cribbage, and he also taught me about men always shake hands when they meet. Once me and Grandpa first played against each other, I lost, but he told me that I played well. Every time we played each other, he told me that I got better and better every time. On our last match, I was ahead on the first half of the board, and then Grandpa jumped ahead on the second. Grandpa was a great cribbage player. He will be missed as the best cribbage player I know.
Thanks, Jake. My daughter Emma, who is now 18 years old, was a great fan of playing cribbage with my father. Much to his chagrin, she actually, well, don't tell. This is our secret. She actually became a somewhat better cribbage player than he was. He didn't really like that very much, but she sent along a remembrance of him, and Jake is going to read that for her because she was not able to be here. Jake.
Obviously, my grandpa was famous around the family for teaching us cribbage, and it is definitely my favorite card game. But I know that he wasn't really teaching us just a card game. He was teaching us much more than that. Anyone who ever played cards with him has probably heard of him scolding them for having bad card etiquette. Not because he wanted to embarrass them or make them angry. He was doing it because etiquette is really important, and I now know really simple to understand. Now I know the importance of being polite and having manners. I also learned to be a humble winner. I guess I've lost that a bit when actually playing the game. But in real life, I would never even dream of being an arrogant winner, and I learned that from him. One of the most important lessons I have taken from cribbage is to always shoot for 29. For those of you who don't know, 29 is the highest score you could get in one hand. It's easy to look at the score, see yourself losing the game, see no way of getting out of it, but it's always important to hope that maybe you'll get lucky, maybe the cards will be in your favor and you can win. Always have hope, always keep trying. I am going to miss my grandpa very much, and it makes me sad that I'll never have the chance to play another cribbage game with him, to learn more lessons, to hear more advice, but what I have learned from him will stay with me forever. He'll never really be gone because he is a part of me. He is a part of everyone here. And I'm sure you're all as glad as I am to have known the great Neil Turner.
Thanks, Jake. That was terrific. My oldest daughter, Jackie, she's 23 now. She also could not be here. She's living in Austin, but she sent along something to remember my father by as well. I have a lot of wonderful memories of times I've spent with my grandpa, learning how to fish on his boat, beating him at cribbage, losing at cribbage, which happened much more frequently, exploring the house in Strawberry, and lots of others. But they aren't what I'll remember the most about him. They're treasured memories of my childhood, but what will really stay with me is who he was and the stories he told. Anyone who knew him has heard a few of his stories. He was well known for them, and he could really tell them. When he told those stories about his life, I felt like I was standing there watching him drive his truck through the dirt streets of France during the war, or strolling down the street in Booger, Texas, that's in quotes, that's actually supposed to be Borger, Texas, a look of pure New England disgust on his face. I could almost see the look of shock and horror on the little old lady's face whose house he knocked down with his army truck. I'm grateful to have had one of those great storytellers as a grandfather, because his blood flows in my veins, and now his stories stay within me too. I'm grateful that he shared those parts of himself so freely, because it would have been a shame not to know them. All of his wit and spirit lives on in those stories, and stories we now have about him. And while we keep telling and retelling them, he's never really gone. That's from my daughter, Jackie. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, next on the program is his granddaughter, Leslie.
Mine's not a cribbage story. Mine revolves around food.
Step forward.
I can't remember the first time that my grandfather made his famous oysters Rockefeller, but I do remember trying to order it in a restaurant, finding out that it's really made with spinach, and that's not him. So I remember that he would try and teach me how to do it, and he and I became a team, and each of us had our own jobs to do, and his job was to cut the oysters and put them in each of the individual shells, and my job was to make the sauce and do all the cutting and the chopping and the prep work. And he would, taste the sauce and make sure that it didn't need anything or that I was perfect. And so he helped me in that way. And then I helped him because I was his eyes. He would ask me, did I forget anything? Is any oyster lonely out there? To make sure that it had just the right amount of ingredients on it. And he and I got that routine down so perfectly that he decided we should go into business. And so he started talking about another entrepreneurial ship of, well, this is how we can do this. We could make lots of money. We could do it at home and take it out in this truck and deliver it out here. And I mean, he's talking all of these things out, and I'm thinking, okay, that sounds great. I'm a teacher, I don't make enough money. So anyway, so just recently we brought my son into the family, and Grandpa started training me, and I started training Jake, and so Jake and I recently made it after Grandpa passed away, and Jacob came into my role beautifully. He helped chop everything, he helped prep everything, and me, well, I have some really big shoes to fill, so I'll have to work on that. But he's one of the best. Thanks, Grandpa.
Thanks, Leslie.